Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche pregame show presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Use the code DNVR when you sign up for a new account to get amazing odds boosts every single day. Rudo and Blais coming at you live pregame, Avs versus Sharks. Obviously, the big news of the day, Nathan MacKinnon back in the lineup. So whatever was wrong with his hand, clearly not that serious.
He's magical.
He is magical. We know Nate's a super competitor, so not a huge surprise that he gets back into the lineup super quickly, but you have to think it's positive that it's probably not anything that's seriously hampering his play, at least.
I mean, it's got to be so minor, especially right now with the games that you have in hand against the West. Like, why would you play him if there was any doubt whatsoever, right? Like, you would just sit that guy. It doesn't matter. Look, you just beat the Flames without him. Like, don't need to come back to make sure that you take down the Sharks with the MacKinnon.
Yep. It's just unnecessary to do that for a guy that isn't 100% for the Avs right now. Now, we all know hockey players that they want to play a lot of the time, but
yeah,
still, I can't imagine if it was anything that would put playoff performance in jeopardy that they would be doing it. So
yeah,
MacKinnon presumably entirely fine. Someone in chat mentioned it. It is Pavel Francouz tonight for the Avs against the Sharks. Sharks playing Kakkonen. So neat.
Who knows?
I don't really think it matters who the Sharks start in goal with MacKinnon in the lineup. The Avs are certainly the better team in this matchup. It would be nice to see them even things out a little bit. It feels like they've been a little bit up and down over the last handful of games, but we'll see how all of that goes. Part certainly should help. Kadri should move back down to the 2C spot. Do you want to see Newhook and Lehkonen together, Blais, or are you leaving one of them up on the second line with Kadri and presumably Berkey?
I mean, I would keep them attached at the hip, right? Like, let them get all those kinks out before the playoffs start. I mean, I understand, like, moving one guy like Newhook up is very tempting, but it's a brand new guy. I would keep them together as much as possible.
Okay, so are you throwing like Comfer on the second line or something then, just to get by and keep them together? Or?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Whoever you want to put up there. I mean, Bednar loves Comfer, so like he will throw him up there.
True enough. No, has he played on it
there? Has he played on every single line this year? I mean, I think
probably.
I think he has. So
he's definitely played on the bottom nine. I'm trying to think if they put him out there with the top line at all. I know they probably did.
I thought they did earlier in the year, but it's all blending together now.
Yeah,
it's April.
He was really hot at the start of the year. That's right. So I don't know. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how it happens. We do this every pregame. We're like, oh, this line would be cool. That line would be cool. And halfway through the game, everyone's playing with everyone. So
yeah.
Kind of used to it on that front. The dogs.
Yeah.
Pay the dog tax. Put him on camera.
Probably yeah, no, they're barking at ups, man. Sorry, guys.
The delivery man. Let's go. We do have to wish Megan Angley a happy birthday today. This is a real birthday. Crazy that she shares a birthday with Ali Monroy, I know, but it is Megan's birthday, so go wish her a happy birthday over on Twitter and elsewhere. A happy birthday to her. On the Avs side of things, obviously Nathan MacKinnon makes you a significantly better hockey team offensively, but we've seen the Avs struggle lately at 5-on-5. What is the answer there? Is it simply pucks just start going in the net for them, or is there something specific that they can improve?
I mean, we've seen them. They've been getting chances. It's like that overpassing that we see with the Avalanche all the time, right? Like where they're looking for that perfect play when they should just be getting into high danger areas and shooting the puck.
Yeah.
Avs really want to just like shine, right? Like they basically don't want to shoot the puck into the net. They just kind of want to stick handle into the back of the net if they could. But it's just not possible. So, I mean, I think you just want to see them shooting. Obviously, special teams last game was awesome, right? They scored 2 goals,
Yep.
so
And
you're
their special
feeling
teams has been consistently good over this poor 5-on-5 stretch, really.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think some of that does happen because of what you're seeing just with the lineup right now, with the injuries piling up and then people coming in and out of the lineup. Finally getting people from the trade
Yeah.
deadline coming into the lineup as well. Like, a lot of things are in flux, and that can throw a team off a little bit until they get back into the groove. So
It's
you go ahead.
it's a good point. The getting people actually in from the trade deadline. We've talked about it a couple times with Manson, right? It takes a while to get these guys acclimated to systems, and the reality of 5-on-5 play is that's the most system heavy part of the game, right? It's
Yeah,
where you have players that you need to be, especially in a system I think as complex as Bednar runs, you need those players not to be making decisions. You need those players to just know where they need to be beforehand. And Cogliano, Lehkonen, Manson,
yep.
you're seeing them. It's not that it's poor play, it's just that they haven't quite gotten up to speed yet.
Yeah, and you see Bednar talking with those guys like we did on the broadcast on Tuesday night, where Bednar's coming down and talking to those guys, telling them what he wants to see. So,
Yep.
I mean, those are things that are just happening that you see with the team happening, in October. Um, he's having to do that now with the trade deadline. Just this is what I want to see. So,
Yep.
and it is funny, like when you look like with Mason, it's like. Um, he likes to jump the gun. You know what I mean? Like he wants to cut off
He sends it
passes,
at the
things of
blue
that
line for
nature.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And you've seen him get beat a few times because, if the other defenseman doesn't know that you're going to do that, he's not looking to cover that just in case you get beat. So, you need another forward back as well to cover the guy coming back as well. So, high risk, high reward plays that he's doing. I'm guessing they're going to cut that down. They're not looking for that from him.
Yep. They definitely want I don't want to call it more passive necessarily, but more sound, I guess, defensive play out of him.
Yeah, I would say just more safe. They're not looking for him to generate the offense. They're looking for him to shut down the other team's offense.
Yeah.
So,
100% agree
yeah,
there. That's his role
yeah.
through and through on this team. Uh, no surprise, we have talked about this, or at least AJ and Jesse did on the other day's show. Kubel, the one getting the scratch tonight for the Avs, with inching closer to a healthy-ish lineup with MacKinnon back. So Bednar has said, those last couple spots in the lineup are up for grabs right now. Blais, who is leading that push for you? When Landy comes back, is it Logan O'Connor sitting? Is it Darren Helm sitting? Is it somebody else?
I mean, I'm critical on it, but LOC has fallen just so far. Like he hit a wall and he hasn't been able to get over the wall, dig under it,
Yep.
anything. Like it's not clicking for him right now. So maybe it's one of those things where different guys respond to different things, and maybe he just needs to sit for a few games and see. Like I love that they have those options where they can sit players, and you're not really concerned about it. That's a luxury that a lot of clubs don't have.
Yeah, and
I think go ahead.
I just say I do expect to see some level of rotation there for that 12th
Yeah.
forward spot. If Darren Helm has a couple bad games, they'll probably throw LOC or Knack in there for a game or two, and it'll be in flux a little bit.
Well, and the great thing for the coaches too, they love this. I mean, my kids' high school team does this as well. Like they carry, enough guys, and they look for who's going at practice, and those bottom guys that are just making the team,
Yep,
switch in and out, right? Like, who's going this week? Who's showing me that they want this? And then you go out and you prove it in a game. You can stay in the game, right? So it's one of those things where it's like, who wants the spot for the playoff run?
true enough. It's no problem is a good problem, but something like that is about as close to a good problem to have as you can get, right? So,
Well, it's motivation for your guys on the bottom line. Like, hey, you're not just on the team. Like, you got to go out and earn it every
yeah,
game.
for sure. I honestly, I think that's where you've seen Knack struggle so much with this hockey team. Is the LOC certainly, he's always got his battery going at the very least down there. Knack feels a little bit stuck the scoring has completely dried up for him, obviously, but
Yeah.
it's also felt like, his big knock was he takes too many penalties. So he stopped taking penalties, but that's completely killed the aggressive side of his hockey game. So
Yeah, he's been real quiet out there. It's like, you don't even notice him when he's playing right now. That's never a good sign for a fourth line guy.
yep, yeah, it's one of those things in hockey, especially in a bottom six, where you gotta play right on that edge. You gotta
Yeah.
find a way to be relevant without necessarily producing a ton of points. So
Yeah.
it's not an easy job by any stretch of the imagination, especially for guys like, we say this all the time, but you put any of those dudes in the AHL and they will murder that league. They're a top line player in the AHL, but then they have to adjust to playing 10 minutes a night in the NHL, and it's tough.
Oh, it is. I mean, that's, rhythm is part of like a hockey player. They want to be out there as much as possible. Obviously, getting involved in the game, keeping your head in the game is hard to do when you're sitting on the bench a lot, right? Like, it's hard to just stay focused on what you're trying to achieve out there. And I know everyone says they're professionals. It's just human nature. If you're not engaged in the game, it's easy to just kind of have your mind start wandering.
When you get 4 shifts a period, definitely tough. But you mentioned rhythm, not affecting the Avs directly just yet, but BYRAM officially put on a conditioning stint with the Colorado Eagles. That likely means he's just at least a week, if not 2 weeks away from coming back to the Avs still. But obviously, first of all, great news for Bo. Glad to see that he's getting healthy. But secondly, Avs defense has been solid enough. Let me put it to you this way, because Girard is still out.
Yep.
One, is the Avs defense the best in the league right now? If you say yes, I don't believe you. Two, is the Avs defense the best in the league with BYRAM, but not Girard?
Oh, wow. I'm going to say no and no on to both of those. And my reasoning behind it is my child's crying behind me right now. No, I mean, like the Avs defensively, I mean, they're a good defensive core, but you need those top 4 guys to be healthy and out there playing for them to be in that
Really
discussion
push
of,
it.
yeah.
Okay, so with G best in the league, G and BYRAM.
I mean, who would you compare them to? Who would you take over them? Like, let's put it that way. Who would you take over the Avs defensive core when healthy?
I don't think I would take anyone. You can certainly, I think, make a case for Tampa. They have a fairly solid core. Obviously, Hedman at the top, and you get Sergachev and some other pieces on the way down. But when it is all 4 of those guys for the Avs, especially now with Manson as like arguably a third pairing guy, depending on how you want to mix and match there, that's sick.
Yeah, you just have, and again, like you have options again once everybody's healthy of who you're going to put into the lineup. Those top 4 guys too, like we've always talked about, they're the X factor for the Avs. I mean, you talk about having special teams out there. It feels like you have special teams out there when you have definitely the first defensive pairing. That it just everyone's deadly. Everyone can score. Everyone knows what they're doing out there. And that second pair, same. BYRAM definitely hasn't played much this year, but we saw what he has done. Small flashes. Now, if he can harness that and come into the playoffs looking like that, man, Avs defense is crazy good.
Yeah, no arguments there. $5 super chat from Pin King here. Thank you very much. With the same lineup, how many points Avs end the season with? I'm not exactly sure what you mean by the same lineup. We could actually do some math here. It's never a good idea to do that on air, but let's take a look. So the Avs currently sit at 100 points. They have 15 games remaining, including tonight. So their maximum is 130.
Yeah.
So if they even just play 500 hockey, they'll get to 115. I think you can probably expect them to play closer to 600 at least.
I mean, they're point, what is it, 7-4-6
Yeah.
over the stretch of games that they played this year. So like, just say 70% of those games they win.
Yeah, if you put them at 700, so that'd be like what 123, 124 points, something like
Yeah,
that.
somewhere around there.
So the 120s are definitely attainable for Colorado this year. I'll put it that way. Which is kind of ridiculous to think about that they've been that good. For the record, their pace last year was just 732. So obviously 56 game season, so a little bit less, but they won the President's Trophy last year and are on a significantly better pace this year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and like when you look at the East versus West, right? It's like the closest teams are now in the East for the Avs.
Yep, all of them.
Panthers are what, 4 points back with a game in hand, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Yep. Them and Carolina also 4 points back, but no game in hand. So it's the Avs have talked about how they don't care that much about the President's Trophy this year, but it's theirs to lose, really.
Yeah.
So hockey.
Yeah, they have bigger goals this year.
Yeah, for sure. Focused on something a little bit better than the President's Trophy.
Yeah.
No doubt about that. Okay, Blais, you've been hot lately.
What do you got? 2 for 3 with positives. All positive number bets last time. So
you've been riding the positive money bets lately, and it's been working pretty well. So I'm curious if you're sticking with it or if you're going back to some old faithfuls here. But
oh, look at that! There's some positives
that's
on here again.
That's a lot of positives.
All right, first one. This is Colorado to win money line with under 6.5 goals at plus 135. How you feeling about that one, Rudo?
The under's been a good bet lately. It does feel like it's that time of year where scoring does start to dry up a little bit. So
it does, and like if you want to take Colorado money line and over 6.5, I think that one's at plus 145. And just looking at the matchup, San Jose Sharks are 29 and 29 and 8 for their season. I just don't. There's not a lot of people scoring goals on this team. I just don't see them. I mean, unless the Avs get super hot.
Yeah, as long as they don't chase Kakinen, you're feeling pretty okay.
Yep. Mikko, anytime goal. He's been feeling pretty good.
Avs leading goal scorer, so you're getting plus money on the Avs. Most goals scored this season. That's some pretty easy math for me, for sure.
Yep. And just knowing the way MacKinnon operates and how he wants to shine all the time, I think after missing a game and all the hubbub about a hurt hand, he wants to go out there and show people that is basically a bullshit news line. He's going to go out there and just shoot a bunch. So that's why I took over 4.5 shots on goal.
Mac is one of those players who, when things like this happen to him, he usually comes back with a little bit of fire. He usually wants to do something like that. So the old faithful, as Ben has put here, Kale still plus for a power play point. You can never go wrong betting that, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, just because it's not on there doesn't mean I didn't take that bet. But
Blais takes like 8 bets a game, and he's just like, here's the 3 that I think will actually hit. Well, $20 worth of shots if the bottom 6 scores a goal. I gotta say, I don't have a ton of faith that that's gonna happen. But maybe with Newhook and Lehkonen, maybe they finally break through as it's my dog's turn to whine. So,
oh, we're getting a cameo though from him as well.
Yeah, you can just see his nose there a little bit. So we'll see. Again, these games are kind of fun for Colorado because there's no pressure really. They get to go out there and play some fun hockey, try to win hockey games against teams they should beat. But if things go sideways, obviously they'll do their film sessions and be like, yeah, we got to do these things better. But you're not Vegas where every loss feels devastating to that hockey team right now.
Yeah. So. I mean, The thing that I always talk about with these games is just keeping the concentration and understanding that there's still a game to be played. It is NHL hockey. Any team can win any night. And you can see when the Avs are engaged and understand what's at stake. Like against the Calgary, you're down MacKinnon, and they still come out and find a way to win. And you've seen them slip up against teams where they should just, hand them their ass, and they don't, like Arizona. So
Yep.
it's
That's
really
hockey.
about, can they keep focus? Yep.
For sure. You want to see them win every night, of course, but it's also not reality that they're going to do that.
Yeah.
With that being said, they're a good enough team that they should beat the Sharks. So I don't think there's anything wrong with expecting a win on a night like tonight.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Okay. We are about 10 minutes away from puck drop here, so we're going to wrap this one up. We, of course, will be back post-game. AJ Hafley will be joining us for the post-game show. Should be a fun one. Looking forward to seeing what, at least during the regular season, probably as close to a healthy forward core as we're going to get. So we'll see what happens. Thank you, everybody, for watching, listening, however you consume. We appreciate it, and we will talk to you after the game.